Yo, GK Nation. GPS. The Grown Folks Podcast.
Oh my God. Welcome to the podcast.
An extension of the Grown Folks Kids Show. Introducing the host with the most. The great gun. Keeping it here. This is going to be fun. Because I'm Batman. What is up? What is happening? What is going on?
What is going down?
Welcome to Grown Folks Kids Show.
Hey, stop for a second.
What's up?
The last couple of podcasts, you know what you haven't done?
What's up?
You haven't told the people who you are.
I'm Trey Irvin. And who are you?
You know who I am. I'm the man with the golden mic. I'm the great gunny.
He's the great gunny. I think I'm excited about talking about some more stuff.
Hey, you excited?
Welcome to the Grown Folks Kids Shows.
GPS.
And let us
navigate you through our mind.
Because it is a wonderful place to be.
It is.
Oh, my goodness, man. All right. Throwing off a little bit. Man, getting a little nasally here. Spring's still late spring. Still
spring is in the air.
Yeah, battling that pollen. So I might take breaks drinking water all the time. All right, so.
Go ahead.
All right.
What we doing?
Well, you know, you catch us on your favorite podcast platform.
Podcast and platform.
Hey, yeah, just check it out, whatever you're going to use. Okay, iTunes, Speaker, Spotify, all that different things.
And people.
Go ahead.
You have to put in Grown Folks Kids Shows GPS. Because if you don't, you're going to get something that you really don't want to listen to.
It says grown folks. I typed in grown folks and
you got to put grown folks and it'll take you somewhere else. You got to put the GPS in there or you'll be like, oh, what are these guys doing?
Yeah, no.
I'm trying to tell you.
Do it now. Another thing, too, is catch us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter.
YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.
Right? And go to grownfolkskidsshows.com. grownfolkskidsshow.com. And it'll lead you to all of our, podcasts.
Everything's right there.
Everything's right there. So go ahead and go to
and
that.
YouTube.
And YouTube. And
is that
ready?
It? Subscribe. Hit
our subscribe. Subscribe to our podcast, please.
Subscribe to our show.
Yeah.
Subscribe to everything.
Let's do it.
You know what? We don't ask too often, but hey, subscribe, put a like, get a comment, do something. Let us know that you have something to say to us, and let us know if you want to hear something else.
Yeah, let's get there. Let's do it. Hey, speaking of let's do it. Hey.
Family friendly, though.
Oh, yeah, we are family friendly. Hey, man. We're going to talk about today's sports media.
Okay. We've done this before, but let's talk about it.
We're going to talk about sports media, where they're going these days, We're going to talk about, I'm going top of my head because, there's a new trend out there, and it's taking over.
What's the trend?
And there's a reason for that. It's called new media. I know JJ was talking. JJ Redick, he's getting an Emmy.
Good for him.
Award. I think it's an Emmy for his first year too as a rookie sportscaster.
An Emmy?
Yeah, I think it's.
Does he have his own show?
Yeah, he does. He has his own podcast and his own kind of a podcast sports show.
You don't get an Emmy for podcast.
Podcast sports show. It's tape. It's video. Vid show. Vidcast. That's what it's called. And his work on ESPN. On his, on being on First Take all the time.
So he's getting an Emmy for being on ESPN.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, he's not getting. ESPN has put him in the 59 that are being nominated.
Oh, I thought he got in.
No, he's being nominated. Because I thought they
said he's being nominated. Okay, that's right. My bad.
Him and Robert Griffin III.
Right. He's being nominated. In his first year. He's really good. He gets a little testy. he gets irritated fast. So and a lot of his irritations is warranted, but it gets a little too fast. But he's an X's and O's, and he puts a lot of the sports media guys who doesn't play the game and makes these outrageous outtakes. And he puts them in check. He puts them in line. But it's called new sports media. What's happening is because of these sports media guys who we'll call it clickbait or click takes, hot takes, clickbait takes, TMZ takes. Say stuff that has nothing to do with the sport, but what they feel is righteous in the bar and all these different things, and totally throw out X's and O's and the actual sport and how the actual sport is actually done and governed and things like that. A lot of sports guys had said they had enough because you're living it today with new technology. Like us, we can create our own shows.
I'm listening.
They got a lot of money in their pockets.
Yeah.
They can spend money on their own advertisements, buy their own cameras, get their own buildings,
right,
and set up their own shows. And so it's called new media, where sports athletes are now doing their own podcasts, vidcasts, because you can simultaneously put those on YouTube's and sometimes TV stations, local or national.
Right.
All right. And also put them on your favorite podcast platforms. And it's called new media, where the sports athletes are now controlling their own voices. Why do you think that's happening? I probably just already said why it's happening. What do you think about today's media?
I'm fickled on it. I can go one way or the other.
Okay, go ahead, talk.
Because I hear them, and they're saying, "Oh well, I don't want to sound like that guy, but I'm gonna sound like that guy right now." I think that they're sensitive.
Who?
The athletes.
Sensitive.
They're sensitive. You know what? You are in a sports area. You're an athlete, and you're being criticized, and you don't like being criticized. But that's your job. Okay. A reporter's job is to report, to give an opinion. Okay. His opinion, Now, at one point in time, reporters were supposed to be unbiased.
All right.
And for the most part, a lot of them are unbiased, except for when they talk about Michael Jordan. Okay? I'm going to be honest with you. They aren't unbiased when it comes to Michael Jordan.
No, they're unbiased a lot. That's what's pushing.
But I think
because there's a lot of hot takes, like clickbait.
There are hot
clickbait,
takes,
clickbait.
But only a few people get away with the real hot takes. Okay, you got Stephen A, you got Skip Bayless, but I see guys get mad at Charles Barkley and Kenny and Shaq for what they say, and they played.
Yeah, they're more because sometimes I like Kenny. Kenny is a reasonable guy. Charles sometimes he's I don't care. I'm gonna just tell you how it is. You suck. And sometimes Shaq is one of those get off my lawn type sometimes.
But here's the deal.
The way I used to do it type guy.
Okay, but at any point in time, are they not...
Which you should be.
At any point in time, do they not be speaking the truth?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
You don't think they're not speaking the truth?
That's subjective sometimes. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Okay, so with that...
I get it that you said they're sensitive.
And I think that today's athletes are sensitive. All right, so here's the deal. If me and you are talking about something, okay, I'm not going to put me and you because you were the athlete, and but let's put Kenny, Shaq, and Charles. Okay, when they speak about stuff on the court,
right?
Even if they're wrong, they're doing their job to talk about what they see as athletes on the court.
Yeah.
If they speak on anything outside of what's on the court, that's when I think an athlete should be like, hey, you don't live my life. We had the same type of job profession, but I'm an individual and I live my life differently than you do. You shouldn't speak on it.
I get that. You say stuff outside the court.
But being sensitive about what someone says.
Well, a lot of times they're getting sensitive to what is being said on the court. Because a lot of times they don't speak a lot about their own personal lives outside of the court.
And that's what I'm saying. No, I was using that as an example.
Okay.
They usually speak about what's happening on the court.
Right.
How they see it, how they view it. And then they give their opinion
Right.
on how if they were in that situation.
Right.
And so I think a lot of these athletes are like, but you're not out here. And if you were out here, it wouldn't be the same. Because I heard Draymond Green say that if Shaq was playing in the NBA, he would lock him up.
That's a dumb thing to say.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
But, you know, it goes back to what I said in the last podcast. That's we was talking about some of these modern players. A lot of them are they are sensitive. They're quick to defend themselves all the time. When they take criticism as hate. And then they come with some outrageous responses and outrageous responses that don't even make sense, like saying stuff like that.
Right.
Because
their feelings got hurt.
Their feelings get hurt. Their feelings get hurt, and they say stupid stuff.
And they have the ability to have their own platform.
And they have their own platform, so they go up there and they just they jibber jabber. But I'm for it in a sense because I like these athletes to control their own voice, because sometimes you get across, like sometimes you get like the odd couple. They be, Chris Broussard sometimes. I love the guy, but sometimes.
Chris and Rob.
I love listening to the show, but sometimes they be having some outrageous stuff that just don't make sense. Like,
but they hold each other accountable.
They're like, dude, what are you guys talking about? So me hearing as an athlete, I'm like, these dudes, man, they don't play. They don't even understand the game. They just make,
you can't say they don't understand the game.
I was just
because Rob was actually an athlete that got hurt.
I don't say they don't understand it. I'm not like how JJ Redick gets sometimes with these guys. He gets irritated with them.
He does.
You guys don't even play the game. You don't know, but you're making these comments. And but I will say this, because you don't have to actually. I'll fight back with some pro athletes if they came to me and said, well, you didn't play in the NBA, so you wouldn't know. So I don't need to play in the NBA to understand the game of basketball.
The coaches in the NBA didn't play in the NBA.
It's not about playing in the NBA to understand how the game actually works. As long as you understand the X's and O's of the game and you play enough of the game to understand the game. Mm-hmm. Now, I might not know how you guys' locker room operate behind the scenes.
Right.
Well, I understand how a locker room operates.
But a lot of these,
I might not, listen, I know how to put computers and servers together. But I might not be able to sit there and do some coding and all these other high-level things.
Right.
But I understand basic language of certain things, right?
Okay, right.
Okay, so I would say that it's good to have the new media sports athletes to have the ability to go out there and share their opinions, control their voice. It's good to push their brands. Okay, their personal brand. I love it. I hope it doesn't oversaturate where you get anybody's doing a podcast, sports athletes, because then after a while you're like, why is this guy? Why you even got a podcast? Oh, you got one too? Oh, you got one too? Oh, you got one too? But because sometimes too, because you're an athlete doesn't mean you'll be a good podcaster. You see what I'm saying? I listen to some of these athletes and they're not really good podcasters.
No, I understand. No.
Right.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. What I'm saying is that...
But I get why they need to do it. You got to have some type of balance.
I mean, it's just now starting, so I am a type of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of guy. And I could see if
You're not a legend unless you win the ring. Stuff like that. That just throws me off.
Well...
You can't.
Who says that?
Well, they always do.
No, I'm just saying.
Any of those shows, or I'm trying to find an outrageous
No one
take.
has said. I don't think they've said you're not a legend because Charles Barkley's a legend. He ain't never won a ring. He's still a legend.
They crucify him a lot.
Well, Charles gets crucified because sometimes Charles puts his foot in his mouth. I love Charles because Charles is 100%.
You're not this unless you don't meet this criteria. And so what happens is when you have a bunch of people who hasn't played that game at that high level and understands what it takes to get that, and who turns a team sport into an individual sport.
But Dre, we've done that.
Right? Well, I mean...
We've made tiers We gave
Yeah.
yes, we've
we
done
make
that.
tiers.
Yeah, but we've
we're
done
not-
that. We've put individual players
Okay.
on a tier level. Everyone does that. It's been doing it since the beginning of sports and being reported on.
Right.
The problem is these new athletes, this new generation, these millennials and up are sensitive.
Yeah, but I'm not going to...
No, it's either yes or no. There's no in
yes, because
between.
you can't blanket all of them like that.
But,
you know?
but that's where it
that's
started.
That's not because they
Well,
didn't
you
go
know
to
what? I
meet-
can't even say millennials because
that's not
millennials
fair.
don't even play sports
That's not fair.
anymore.
You can't just say, well, this is happening because they're just being too sensitive. No. It's sometimes the sports media is clickbaiting all the time. And at some point...
What's clickbait?
Like they say they make commentary that makes no sense, but they'll do it just so they can bring in ratings and track attention.
Okay, so if they make one comment out of a whole half an hour program,
see, no,
I'm asking. I want you to explain to me because you're saying clickbaiting.
I'll explain to you. Sometimes there's no minimization on it. If I watch these shows every day, all day long, okay, and they will spend. I'm trying to find a top of my head. What was the one the other day? Like for instance, I'll just come up with something, right? It's similar. Like, for instance, a team will lose game one, okay? They lose game one, and the first question will be coming the next day. Is the series over now because blah, blah, blah lost? Is the series over? Now, like, why would you even ask a dumb question like that if it's a 7-game series? Or they'll go like this.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Or they go like this. One guy has a 50-point game, okay? And you have a good series. Next thing you know, is he the best player in the world now? You know what I'm saying? And they'll say, they will come with, or is this player blah, 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 because they meet this criteria. And so what happens is this. What I'm trying to say is this. I wouldn't say so much, I wouldn't put it in a narrow vacuum here. I'll say that it's because these players are sensitive, so they have to go get their own sports talk shows. I will also say it's a combination of so many different things. I'll say, yeah, they can get a little sensitive. Not all of them are sensitive like that, but they can get... Players today are a little more sensitive. That is a known. But also, too, sports media has turned into TMZ. It's turned tabloid. And they don't commentate on actual X's and O's of the sport, the actual what's happening in the sport.
Because that's not what you want to watch.
I understand it's ratings and it's ESPN, and ESPN has turned into the rating machine. And I shouldn't pick on just ESPN. Fox is a little more, to me, Fox Sports is getting a little more balanced with it, but they have a few shows. But ESPN has become very TMZ sometimes. Sports media has gotten very TMZ.
What is TMZ? Explain yourself. I'm asking you. You got to explain this TMZ? To more than just me.
People watch TMZ.
Not everybody knows what
tabloid type of media talk. Tabloid talk.
Well, TMZ gets it right a lot of the time.
Tabloid talk, clickbait talk, hot takes talk.
Okay.
They're so more interested in creating hot takes than they are talking about the actual reality of things. And that pushes people to say, you know what, I'm going to control my own narrative.
Well, that's nothing new.
Say sensitivity.
That's nothing new. That's been going on forever. It just so happens that it's not on TV. It used to be in the newspaper and the magazine. The headlines of a magazine would say the same thing. The headlines of the back page of the New York Times would say the same thing. The headlines of the Washington Post sports page would say the same thing. But the problem is, not everybody read the paper. Now everybody watches TV. It's not different now than it was back then. It's just the simple fact that it's in your face. It's the guy who used to work in Chicago saying it. It's the guy that works in Seattle saying it. It's the guy that works in California. So you're getting it from everybody all at once instead of just only getting it from your one local. Because what you used to do is you used to get your local paper and you would hear it from your local paper or you would hear it from the Washington Post. But now, the local radios...
Yeah, we know Television media.
No. What I'm saying
technology's
is,
changed.
So technology has made it so that you're hearing it from more than just one person. Because you only used to hear, because Stephen A. said this.
Okay.
You remember, he used to be a beat writer for Philadelphia.
Yep.
And him and Allen Iverson used to go at it all the time.
Right.
And he would tell him, I don't talk about nothing but what goes on that court. And it's my opinion. And if you don't like it, go out there on the court and prove me wrong.
We all in the opinion business.
So, and that's what it is.
Sometimes you're not going to like everybody's opinion. People are not going to like your opinion.
You're absolutely right. I think what it is that they're getting it from more than one person. So I don't think sports media has blown up so much that it's tabloid, because it's always been tabloid. It's always been tabloid.
Not always.
It's always been tabloid. Certain reporters
there's been fringe tabloid writers here and there. I'm talking about in general, it's gone total tabloid.
You got award-winning journalists who make these comments that they made.
Because it's a different world,
right? But they made the same comments. They just put it in print.
We got guys jumping off of roofs trying to get hits on YouTube.
No, I get that.
There's a new world.
But that's
on
people
Instagram
were jumping off
and
roofs
TikTok
to get attention, regardless.
Right. TikTok. Before
TikTok, I used to. Everybody who's listening, they'll remember. I used to run on the side of the wall and jump to climb up on top of the elementary school, Patuxent Elementary. If there was TikTok and all that back there, I'd have been super uber famous, because I was doing all this crazy stuff then, but I wasn't doing it for likes. I was doing it because we were young and dumb and we did stupid stuff.
All right.
I'm just saying, I think there's a little bit more sense, and I
lean more on dates because you think they just be more sensitive.
I love JJ.
I'm leaning on more that it's a combination of too many hot takes, tabloid sports media, mixed in with the sensitivity of today people.
Okay.
Is a combination of
what you just
new
said,
media versus tabloid.
What you
sports.
said is the same thing I said, except for you get it all at once instead of you having to travel to get it. Because you just said too many hot takes. If you are in one city, you only get one city's. You only get one city.
I'm talking about national media. I don't know what you're talking about when they come about media.
No. I'm talking about. Hear what I'm saying.
All right.
You're saying.
I'm talking about TV. What's up?
Exactly, TV. Okay. But you're getting all of these hot takes at once.
Yeah, I mean.
But you didn't used to do that.
Okay,
you would have the same amount.
Right.
You just didn't get everybody's paper.
Okay, but what's that have to do with anything? The amount you're getting. I'm talking about.
You just said it. You just said there's too many, that they are getting too many.
I'm not talking about the quantity of sports people out there. I'm talking about it's too much concentration on hot takes than actual realistic journalism when it comes to sports.
Well, TV's
too much focus on hot takes.
The news is for realistic journalism. Sports Center is your realistic journalism.
What I mean is just throwing out stuff. Like, watch Kalakara, that new guy they got on his thing now. Mm-hmm. He be throwing out some weird stuff, saying some crazy. Now, I understand it's opinion. And everyone has a right, and he's good at his job, and everyone's going to have opinions, and you're not going to like it, or you might like it. So I'm not saying anything is wrong with it.
I'm going to ask you a question, Dre.
But those type of, when people say hot, weird stuff like that, it pushes athletes to, so you know what, I want to control more of my narrative, because these people don't know, they don't understand the game.
They do understand the game, but they understand. Look, they understand the game. They understand the game more than people give them credit for, because they understand how to keep a job. Because me and you both know.
I get it.
Let me say.
Get that.
Me and you both know. For the longest time, Colin Cowherd was just him talking in a microphone, telling it like it was.
I like Colin Cowherd.
And then what happened? They had to bring in someone like that, because that is the way that it's going. So you still get good journalism with some show.
Well, listen, I'm not stupid either to the fact that
I know you're
not.
But if that's all your sensitive ears go to,
no, I'm not stupid to the fact of what I'm saying is I'm aware of the fact that also too is what people want to see, And at the end of the day, it's about ratings. Ratings bring in sponsors, and you got to go with what people want to see sometimes. So you'll find a show that has a good balance of both. That's why I like Cowherd himself. He has a good balance. I like when JJ and Stephen A are debating that, because when JJ started becoming more a part of the show, it brought in more balance. I can see that Stephen A is a little more, because sometimes he'll say some stuff, you know what I'm saying?
But that's his job.
But sometimes, he don't care who likes it. We get it, Stephen A's world. He don't care what he says.
But he's also a award-winning journalist.
I mean,
he's earned the right to be his way.
Yeah, he can do it. He earned his way. Doesn't mean you have to like it.
Outside of Skip,
and I like him.
He's the king.
Yeah. So, anyways, speaking of that, Skip. Man.
Oh, I thought we was going to skip over this, but okay.
A matter of time. Just a matter of time. Let's get Shannon, people out there, Shannon is saying, peace out. Skip Bayless loses another partner.
Well, it's not losing. He's lost his partner. Because remember, he left ESPN.
Listen.
For more money.
People don't want to work with Skip. Skip. And listen, I'm not anti-Skip. I'll be honest with you. I don't like Skip.
Well, we'll see if nobody wants to work with Skip.
It's hard to watch Skip sometimes. You talking about hot take, man.
Yeah.
You talking about a guy like, I would love to have a couple of shows.
No, you wouldn't.
I would love to do it.
Wouldn't.
He wouldn't let me be on the show. I'm going to be like, Skip, really?
I don't think you can handle Skip, man.
Skip, I can handle Skip.
Oh, no, man. Skip.
I'm going to say, once you look into the national TV camera and say that again, well, LeBron was like, oh, really? So LeBron didn't just do this? Man, I would love.
He gets that every day from Shannon.
But
Can't nobody defend LeBron James
honestly,
like Shannon Sharpe.
I wouldn't want to do it because
LeBron James.
I'll get a little condescending on Skip and make him look like a fool. While other people just debate him.
Well, see,
he'll say something like that,
but then
and I wouldn't do that. I'm not saying I would do that because that's not my character.
That's not
but it's
not
so
TV.
Tempting. When he says stuff, it's so tempting.
Because that's his job.
It's so tempting.
Remember what happened to Jalen?
Actually believe
Remember Jalen did that.
I'm like, you talking about
you act like this never happened. Jalen's done that before.
Stern type of guy.
You're going a little far now.
Without the gruesome immorality stuff.
He's an award-winning journalist too. You got to
I don't care about your awards.
No, it's not. See,
about your awards.
See, that's exactly.
I don't care about your awards.
And you know what? That's why him and Shannon ain't together right now.
I know how.
Because he told Shannon,
I don't care
about you being in the Hall of Fame. Put your glasses back on and don't puff up your chest.
Oh my God!
See, you can't. You
talk to a grown man
the same
like that.
way.
Ooh, Shannon was like, dude, do I need it? I got 1.8 million subscribers to Club Shay Shay. Mm-hmm. Do I need this? It's on TV and podcast. Do I really need this? I'm about to blow up. I have my own show. I don't need this. Shannon, good for you, man. He's like, I'm gonna go do my. Hey, listen, it was a good combo. They just don't have the chemistry. It's hard to get that chemistry with Skip.
I mean, it is. They're friends.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it half the time with all the stuff they be going back and forth with. That don't sound like they're friends to me. They sound like they're colleagues. Don't sound like they're friends.
Well,
so
Stephen A. and Skip went through the same thing. You just look at
these latest tweets they do on each other back and forth.
You know what?
They ain't friends.
Maybe friends is a strong word.
Yeah, that's a strong word.
Here's the thing: we don't know until Shannon comes out and says his piece.
He will.
When he does, then we'll understand.
Buy me out.
But I think Shannon is a more of the. Take the high road kind of individual.
You see that coming?
I saw it coming. I saw it coming after he told him.
What took you so long?
Well, it's because Shannon is an old school.
What do you think about Shannon Sharpe as? Listen, I'm not saying we're taking Shannon Sharpe's side. It sounds like that, and it sounds like I'm anti-Skip, but I'm not really a big fan of Skip Bayless because of his just off the wall weird stuff he just be saying that just don't even make sense. But I do respect the man in his job and what he does, and he is an award-winning guy. He's been in the game a long time. I respect his accolades and what he's done. So I'll give that. What do you think about Shannon?
I like Shannon. I like Shannon because Shannon is unapologetically him.
That's true.
He's and here we go. He's unapologetically a Southern black man who you can't take
from the dirt.
You can't take away
came from the dirt.
Yeah, you can't take
his story
away.
Is something.
You can't take away his accomplishments.
Man, you cannot.
He doesn't toot his own horn, but he doesn't allow you to trample on him.
No, he don't.
Sometimes I don't agree with his takes because outside of football, everything else is kind of hearsay. You know, he sees things a certain way. No,
he's pretty good.
I didn't say he's not. That's not what I said.
I
said sometimes.
Sometimes.
I didn't say all the time. I didn't say most of the time. I said sometimes. Because as a man and as a human, sometimes we look at things from an emotional standpoint and we hold things a certain way.
I like he keeps his own Southern personality part of his thing.
Oh yeah, he's
Club Shay Shay. He's Shay Shay. He does him. He does him.
He does him.
So when you sit there and you talk down to him like that,
Skip disrespected him, and I think Skip overstepped.
And this ain't the only time.
I just think he overstepped his friendship with him. I think he thought he had the same friendship with him that he had with Stephen A.
Well, they'd say he's a dominating guy. You know,
you gotta be.
And he does, but he's Lord Skip.
It doesn't matter. You tend to do things towards people that you feel or you can get away with.
You think he's going to get a replacement? Because it's going to be hard to find someone to...
Man, he's going to get another replacement. Y'all need to stop. All those people...
He'll pick somebody.
All those people that say he's hard to work with and blah, blah, blah.
He'll find a guy that wants to be on TV.
That show right there...
That's a top show, dude.
That's a top show.
I'll go on it for about a year. I'll do it.
Shoot.
If you don't mind me challenging him.
The problem,
he probably don't want to be challenged.
It's not about challenging because they have a reading room. They decide what they're going to argue about. They decide who's going to take what side. And I just think that sometimes emotions get the better of both of them.
And sometimes you got to figure out how to balance that.
You have to learn how to, and that's
hard to do.
And I think that's JJ Redick's problem.
He gets irritated quick.
His anger comes up.
He'll learn though,
and he's going to learn. But he because
listen, it's justified.
Some of times,
a lot of times,
some of the times it's justified. He is one of those younger players that doesn't want to hear that the older players were better.
No,
he is.
I shouldn't say that. I would disagree with you on that. He don't want to hear it when older players are, because they are. I will side with some of the younger players on this one. They trash talk these younger guys so
I'm not
bad.
talking about that. That's not what I'm talking about. I agree on that.
No. They talk do trash about today's
game. I get that.
Players, everything. I mean, every little thing, they find reasons. And I'm starting to come to realize, I just think it's basically because they weren't as good as offensively as these guys are today. Now, I get it. You played in a tougher era.
I think.
But the offensive skill set, I was watching, you ever watch that one show? The Court show? There's a comedy show called
Cancel Court.
Mm-hmm. And I was watching the LeBron versus Michael one.
Right.
Oh, the arguments for when you do it. You can have the LeBron James and MJ arguments, coffee shop talks and all that. But when they put it on the court thing,
well, the thing is you have to have the right people making the right arguments.
But when they present the right arguments and they put it in the court scene, it made you like, gosh, dang, LeBron James is so much better than Michael Jordan.
No, I'll never believe that.
Well, that's personal opinion and that's feeling. But when you do it because in the court settings is all about evidence of this and evidence of that.
You know that old saying, numbers never lie? Sometimes it does.
Well, nah. Now when it comes to LeBron James,
look, listen, hold on. Listen. We're not going into this LeBron James thing.
I know, we're not.
What I'm saying, because we're getting off of what I'm saying.
What I'm saying.
You took it to the other way than what I was saying.
I was saying, making a point. It was about cancel court.
Yeah, but that still has no bearing on what we're talking about.
I was going somewhere with it.
You were talking about because of how they were talking about LeBron James and Michael Jordan.
No, I like the cancel court.
All I'm saying is...
I was about to say something about cancel court and tying it into today's... I'll forget about it. Anyways, So, old athletes and today's athletes. That's what I was going to... because they're jealous of how offensively skilled. And so when they
actually think they're jealous.
No. Listen.
Because that's not what I was talking about.
Not all the time. But what I'm saying is, this is the reason why I brought a cancel culture. When I was bringing up the LeBron James, and one guy had an argument. It was a good one. I ain't even thought about this. Like, look who LeBron James had to play at the two guards and stuff. Carmelo Anthony. They had D. Wade. I think he said Paul Pierce. I can't remember. He had all these high-level guys. KD. This is
going way off from what I was talking about.
Listen.
You always got to get your little LeBron in.
And then when he said, look at Jordan's two guards. Craig
Jordan
Elo.
was a two-guard.
He was. Craig
LeBron's
Elo.
not.
Craig Elo, guys he had to face in the same position. Craig Elo.
Craig Elo wasn't a bad player. Come on, man.
That's what I'm saying. Craig Elo.
Uh-huh.
What's the guy? Reggie Miller. Who's the other white guard? There was the other white guard. Brain freeze. Anyways, because they're different in those days, right? And they weren't the same athletes. Michael Jordan was so much superior than those guys compared to what LeBron had to face. And so he compared that. So what I'm saying that is that these guys are so superior in their athletic, in their offensive game, that sometimes I think these older guys, because these guys are making so much ridiculous, and we're just talking about the last podcast, making $60 million. This
has nothing to do with what I was saying.
What we were talking about.
We were talking, because what I said about JJ Redick.
Right, and he gets pissed off
about, but I wasn't talking about athletes. I was talking about what the reporters were saying. Not the athletes. You went something totally different.
I sure did.
We were talking
about
because you always he was trying to get LeBron James over Michael Jordan again, fellas. This is what he does. He always does it. No, he's not the GOAT. We're not having that conversation.
There's no more discussion about it.
There is.
There is no discussion. It's feelings versus actuals.
No, it's not.
It's feelings versus actuals. There's no debate about it. Anyways, let's go.
Like I was saying, I think that JJ Redick gets upset because they put some of these older athletes over him and his peers. And he gets upset over that.
I think he gets upset.
Especially the Larry Bird thing.
I think he gets upset with disrespect of modern players, and he sticks up for them. Because when you watch
that, I can agree he does get upset with.
When you watch JJ Redick, most of the times he's defending.
He's defending the players.
He's defending the players. He's constantly in defense mode, and so he's in defense mode. I like when him and Kendrick Perkins go. I can tell them guys. They might be cool with each other, so I don't know what it is behind the scenes, but that's one guy.
But you know
JJ
why?
Gets so irritated.
Because it's a defensive player versus an offensive player. It's just like a defensive and an offensive. Yeah, I get it's like a quarterback and a defensive and an offensive line.
Some stuff
hey, look, don't get me started on Kendrick Perkins. Because he be killing me on these Celtic takes. And then he just go to the far left. And I be like, what are you talking about, Kendrick?
He'll say something that's on point, then all of a sudden he'll just say something that goes like, dude, what? And then JJ be like, what do you mean, dude? What do you mean?
But
answer me this. Answer me this. What do you mean?
But he's a center.
So explain this to me.
He's a big man. He sees things differently.
No, he's just from the South.
Yeah, he is from the South.
He's unapologetic. He's from the South. Yep. And he speaks his mind. You know, some of them boys do their thing, man. Anyways, I think he'll find a replacement. I think the show goes on.
Oh, Skip's going to find a replacement.
Yeah, it'll go on. It's got to be someone
But
good.
if he doesn't, they're going to cancel it.
Well, they're going to cancel it because it has to be someone that's going to... It's got to be someone that's going to be able to challenge him. Because if Skip dominates the show, he can't dominate the show.
If they're going to put another athlete on there...
they have to bring somebody that's...
If they put another athlete on there, don't use a football player.
Either use a former basketball player, which, no, don't do that because...
They talk too much basketball.
Not so much they talk too much basketball.
But you got to put a football player.
No, you got to put a football because you put a basketball player and Skip be saying some weird stuff about basketball.
Basketball players, they don't have the same kind of discipline that football play. That is something I've noticed. Football players have a different type of discipline.
Well,
you
also,
know who we should have on there?
That's also true, but basketball players will challenge Skip's basketball takes, and it'll make him look bad.
You know who he should put on there?
Huh?
Ray Lewis.
Oh, heck no.
Ray Lewis.
Heck
Though
no.
they're boys and they can go at each other.
Heck no.
No Ray Lewis?
No.
Why?
No. Because Skip goes, he'll cross boundaries sometimes, and Ray Lewis, it'll be just as bad as Skip. It'll be as bad as Shane. It'll be just like Shannon.
You know what they need to do?
They
need to do the same thing that Stephen A is doing. Not have the same person
they might not
on at the same time.
They might need a sports athlete per se. Just get another sports media guy.
What about Ocho?
That's pretty, no. Ocho is Harvard. He comes with a Harvard approach. Sometimes I think he's just over analytical. I'm like, dude, you're making a little too much about that little thing.
Or what about if they get Marcellus?
I like it. I love Ocho. I like his stuff.
What if they bring Marcellus back?
I think he needs to go with another just regular sports media guy that can challenge him.
I don't think it will work. I don't think Fox has one outside of Nick Wright.
Oh, heck no.
I mean, if you want another analyst, you got to.
Nick Wright, he wouldn't do it because Nick Wright's already made it. He's above that now.
Well, yeah, but
you got to find someone that's not.
There's nobody else then, because you can't put Colin.
That's what it's starting to sound like. You got to
if you
find
want
a
to
newbie.
put someone who's good, but a newbie.
It's starting to look like he's going to be a
newbie going to handle Skip?
Because all the other people we can think of,
I mean, Rob Parker. No, I mean not Rob Parker. No. His partner.
No, first of all, no one's going to leave their successful shows to join Skip.
Well, you don't have to leave the show because Shannon kept his show.
No, the Shannon show came long after.
Right, but my thing
is, it's a podcast. It's a vidcast.
It's a podcast. But
it's not on ESPN or Fox.
That's what I'm saying.
It's on a national platform.
Rob Parker and what's the dude's name?
No, you're going to have to find somebody on the vidcast shows. Pull someone from there who wants to transition to a national.
Who has a vidcast show?
Who?
Rob doesn't have a TV
Parker,
show.
Yes, he do. He's the Odd Couple. What are you talking about?
But that's a vidcast show.
No, it's not.
It is. That is a podcast.
It's on TV?
No, it's on YouTube. It's a vidcast podcast.
I think in certain areas of the country it's on TV.
No, it's on a vidcast.
And also, it's
successful.
Popular. Right, I don't think he has the patience to go with.
What's the other guy?
You know what though? What's the
light-skinned dude's name?
I will give you credit
because he goes on Nick Wright's show all the time.
I'll give you credit. Chris Broussard is on Nick Wright's show.
Broussard.
He's part of. He is part of First Thing First.
Yeah,
he's part of First Thing First. But no, Rob Parker would probably be if he wants. But Rob Parker's been part of the game for so long too, just like Skip.
But he's disciplined.
He might not have the patience to deal with Skip. Rob Parker doesn't seem to have the patience.
He used to be on she used to go on First Take.
I don't know. It sounds like he's going. I don't know. I'll say this, people. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be.
I mean, I'm thinking.
I think that might be the hot takes right now. See who's going to be Skip's partner. So, anyways, well, hey, we've jabbered about this long enough. Thanks for listening. We got to go. Remember, check our podcast, Grown Folks Kids Shows GPS, on all your favorite platforms. You know, Spotify, Spreaker, Podbean. I always say the same thing. So let's see.
Just put Tom Brady in there with him.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady don't need no Skip. Tom Brady about to make
Peyton Manning in, man.
$1 trillion.
Put Peyton Manning in there.
Oh man, those guys they're gonna make $1 trillion on TV just doing what they do.
Peyton Manning loves the debate. I love his show. He's so awesome. Smart though. He's too smart.
Yeah. Hey, go to grownfolkskidshow.com as a central place to go to all of our materials. Hey, until next time, thanks for listening.
GPS.
Hey people, stay good.
Peace out.
Yeah.
GPS.